Just wanted to give y'all an update on what's going on overseas and how this shit is not about to conclude anytime soon. I hate to say it, but unfortunately, I really wanted us to get our bars off, conclude this weekend, and go ahead find an off ramp. I don't know if that is a possibility as it stands right now. This is coming from the Wall Street Journal. U.S. service member killed in Iraq as troop death toll in Jordan likely to rise. So we do know that there was a controlled detonation of a failed Iranian drone, and a troop died during that controlled detonation. We'll get an investigation, figure out what happened, and see, was he a part of ordnance? Was he standing by? I want to know more about that. But not only that, but we see human remains is what to believe to be another U.S. service member also being examined in Jordan. Now we have all of this different stuff. We're seeing the possibility of, this just continuing to drag on, going longer and longer. And that is what I'm worried about. I'm not quite sure what the end game is here. I'm not quite sure how we pull out of this and save face. I don't particularly think we need to save face, but as I see this story, I'm seeing somebody else's died in Iraq, and we're probably going to have more casualties. It's my prediction, especially when I'm seeing stuff like this. We're seeing the former White House chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney. He was the White House chief of staff under Trump's first term. He was there just partially, and he believes that it's going to go on for an additional year, according to Sky News. Let's check out what he had to say here.
I think it's hard to predict specific periods of time, but Donald Trump did take to, I think, social media in the last 24 hours and say that he believed the American military was prepared to engage for at least the next year. That's a long time, even in Trump world. Keep in mind, Trump doesn't speak in specifics. If he says something's going to happen tomorrow, it might happen tomorrow. If he says something's going to happen 2 or 3 weeks from now, it means it's sometime in the sort of near future. But when he says something's going to go on for a year, that means that they don't have any idea how long this is going to go on. And it could be a very, very long time. Look, the bottom line is this. I think the war will continue now until the Iranians don't want to continue to engage in hostilities. Either the government makes the decision that they're better off going to the negotiating table, or the Iranian people decide that they're going to change their government, as difficult as that obviously would be. But
as difficult as that obviously would be, I don't remember seeing President Trump saying anywhere on social media that he thinks is going to go on at least an additional year. But I will say this. I think his prediction is a little bit wrong when he says that this war is going to continue until Iran decides they don't want to engage in hostilities anymore. I think they're going to go down with the ship. The country of Iran is a big ass ship. The Ayatollah is the captain, and his whole government is the captain. They're going to go down with the ship. They don't care if their people are not eating right. And I've said this before. 25% of their GDP comes from the export of oil through the Strait of Hormuz. 75% of their GDP comes from other areas. They have the sea to the north where they're doing trading with the Russians and with other countries there. They have Pakistan to the east, which they're sending stuff out through rail. They have Turkey to the west. They use their rail. They using trucks. They're using rail lines. They have different ways to get food in, get goods in, get textiles, all that other type of stuff. So if only 25% of their GDP is coming through the Strait of Hormuz or leaving through the Strait of Hormuz, I don't think they care how long this takes, because I think they're going to gamble on random periods of ceasefire like they just had for the month of June, where they can restock, they can get their bread back up, they can sell this, they can do that. And there's just no way that they're going to be like, you know what? Yeah, we're in this. We're going to chill out. We're just going to take a pause. We're going to do this until we don't feel like fighting anymore. I think they've been preparing for something like this since 1979. And so when you have over 40 years of a nation state preparing for a possible war with the Western states, I think they're going to be in for the long haul. I mean, look at the pictures that we're seeing that just happened tonight. Locals are reporting in Iran that they had fires from ballistic missiles that came in from or from missiles that came from the U.S. Air Force. And we're going to see continuing stuff like this all of the time. It doesn't matter. It's not going to move the needle. We're also seeing for like the third time in the last 24 hours, specifically in Manama, Bahrain, but they're saying that sirens are going off again. If there are any American citizens left in Bahrain, that they're warning, they want them to shelter in place and be vigilant, et cetera, et cetera. If you're a citizen still left in Bahrain, you're either a part of the military or you're a spouse or you're just crazy. Like, I'm sure by now they would have evacuated you over the bridge to Saudi Arabia. They would have flew you out to like somewhere else in theater, or even flew you out of theater. So I'm not even really sure why there's a lot of Americans there to even stand with, but we're seeing this all over the place. And so if we're constantly seeing, tit for tat, we're constantly seeing ballistic missiles and drones being launched from Iran and us coming back with air power, and they still are not sitting on their hands. What do we think anything is going to change for? Now we have to worry about other things that are coming from the outside. A possibility that they're getting weaponry from Russia or China, or they're getting intelligence from Russia or China. We're also worried about people within countries that we see as our allies giving intel to certain places. We have breaking news that says Iran claims that Jordanian military personnel and local citizens provided intelligence on location of U.S. aircrafts that were hit in recent strikes. The validity of this is anecdotal. I'm going to just tell you my experience when I was in Jordan. In 2012, I was in Jordan, a part of the 2-4MU, the Marine Expeditionary Unit. And I had to fly in different countries, oftentimes by myself. I had to act like a local, grow my hair out a little bit, sometimes have a beard, rarely wore my uniform. I was there for the specific MOS that I had. There was a lot of times where there was only 2 times where I had to drive from Amman to Aqaba. And here's the route that I had to take. I'm just going to tell you right now, the Jordanian police, the military, they are super corrupt. At least they were in 2012. And I don't see how they've improved since then. Literally, they would just stand in the middle of the highway with a sign that said stop. And it also would say stop in Arabic. And they basically were instructing you to pull your ass over. And they would base it off of how your rental car looked. I had a nice looking rental car, like a Dodge Ram or some shit like that. They would pull me over. I would show my government passport issued by the United States. They gave 0 F's about that. I had to pay bribes, and they would pat me down and look for more money. I would hide Jordanian dinar, JD in my socks. I would hide JD in my underwear. I had hide JD in my shirt. So when they pull my pockets out and I pay them the bribe, they think that's all the money that I had. So this happened all the time. This is anecdotal, but that's the experience I had. Why would that not be increased? Whether it's because of their allegiance to the specific set of Islam that they practice, or because they just like money and they're taking bribes. Why would that not happen on a larger scale? So we're opening ourselves up for more casualties. We've already seen the price of oil rise 4%, nearly 5%, literally just overnight, just seeing all these new attacks. And now we're seeing all of just like the rise continuously of how our prices could be affected. We're seeing that Brent crude oil prices, which are futures, right? This is, predicting what oil prices will be in the future. They're trading on that. It went over $90 today. It has since came back down to $84.55. But the point being is that during the memorandum of understanding that we had in the month of June, that shit dropped down to the low 70s. We are now creeping back up once again. If you even just look at the 5-day forecast, it is just jumping up continuously. This is going to affect us. Anything petroleum based, diesel, obviously, gas, and we're the ones that are going to be paying for the shit. That's the thing that makes me the most upset. I've seen people in my comments, they'll say, Iran, they've been preparing for this. They're not going to stop. They're not going to stop saying death to America. Yeah, that's true. They're not going to stop doing any of that shit. But I really think that we need to let other countries in that region figure this shit out. And we need to be pulling out of the area. Are we going to be pulling out of the area? Nah, I don't think so. The only way to successfully guarantee the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, which was not a part of our initial mission set when we went over there, is for a large ground scale invasion. That's the only way to do it. We have to stop, because we've been told for over the last couple of months that their military is basically plummeled, and they're not able to do anything. They're not going to be able to execute. And we're just seeing more casualties. We just had at least 2-3 soldiers or troops, let's just say servicemen, because we don't know their branches, die in the last 48 hours. That number is expected to go up. We have TBIs, or traumatic brain injuries. And just imagine that me driving just over 300 clicks from Amman to Aqaba, Jordan, and the corruption that was just in that small route, the experience of what could happen of another year of this conflict. I do not think the juice is worth the squeeze. Another question I have is, where is our greatest ally? You know, in March and April, when I would talk to you guys about this stuff all the time, I was telling you about Israel in the air, and they're using their jets, and they're dropping some stuff in Iran. I'm really hearing those stories now. I'm hearing stuff about US CENTCOM. They're making stuff happen. And now it seems like they've shifted their attention completely to Lebanon, into Hezbollah, into everything south of Beirut. And I don't want to be drugged into another forever war. I think that we are teetering. We are like playing footsie with that shit. And I'm not sure if it's 100% needed. I wanted to update you guys, because as optimistic as I was during the memorandum of understanding, us just seemingly taking an L, I'm okay with that shit because I wanted to get up out of there. I'm feeling less and less confident about it now. I'm thinking that this is going to be something that drags on for a while. I'm going to start to put together some videos to help you prepare, just in case we have to start worrying about sleeper cells, or people that are sympathetic to the Ayatollah, sympathetic to what's going on in that area, the things that you should prepare for bugging into your house. I'm a big Second Amendment guy, so maybe you want to think about preparing stuff to defend yourself and defend your family, your property, your cars, etc., etc. But us ending this anytime soon, I don't think so. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.